Hello everyone and welcome to today's session on bank feeds in your Sage 50 account software, and it's part of the International Accounting Day badging series. My name is Abby and I'm going to be your host for today. We also have Laura and Michael on hand today to answer any of your questions. Today's session is going to last approximately 45 minutes depending on how many questions we have outstanding at the end. If you don't get a chance to answer all your questions today, we will reach out after the session has ended. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we move on. So when you join, you will be automatically muted. You can't unmute yourself. If you wish to ask any questions, you can use the questions panel down the right-hand side. And it's just that little speech bubble icon with the question mark in the middle to send your questions across to me, Michael, or Laura. There is a handout available if you wish to download it on today's session, and it's just that little icon with the document with the folded corner. We always recommend to download these handouts, as it does always have helpful links to some resources on our help centre. Just a reminder as well, just like every session, these webinars are recorded and they are going to be linked in your follow-up email, and you'll get that around an hour after the session has ended. You'll also get links to register for future webinars and access to other recordings as well. So keep an eye out for that. Some of you may want to rewatch that recording. You may have, struggled to keep up, or maybe that might be some distractions, people talking to you in the office. That means you can watch that recording at your own leisure. So just a reminder about the International Accounting Day badge. You need to attend any of the 3 of the 4 topics, plus one of our quiz sessions to earn your digital badge. So we've got bank feeds, Sage Copilot, automated payment reminders. Now, Sage Connect, however, if you are registered for this one, it has been cancelled, although this will be still counting towards your attendance if you had registered for Sage Connect as one of your topics. And then lastly, we've got AI document capture and then the quiz to test your knowledge. So if you want to get registered for those, you can click on your handout, register now. Alternatively, the links will be in your follow-up email. Now, some people with this badge tend to use it on their email signature, or you could use it on social media like LinkedIn as well. So they've proved very, very popular. Okay, so this is what we're going to be covering on today's session. So we're going to start by looking at what are bank feeds. And then we'll move into some bank feeds demonstration. Now, just to set the scene a little bit, I'm not going to be showing you how to set up today, as we've got a lot to cover in 45 minutes. But I am going to show you some links on how to set up your bank feeds after the session is ended. We'll then look into bank feeds rules and then some bank feeds rules demonstration. And then towards the end, we'll look at further support and any remaining questions. Now, I just want to launch a poll on your screen. So I'm just wanting to know, have you used bank feeds before? So it's a very simple question, yes or no. If you can pop your answers in there for me. We usually wait until we get around 70-75%. And then what I'll do is I'll share those results with you as well. So just to give us a bit of an idea of where people are at with this topic. And then we'll share those results with you. So I can see those results are coming in nice and quickly. Some of you may have used bank feeds before, but just need a bit of a refresher. Some of you may have not even heard of bank feeds. So just give it a little bit. Give it a bit longer. Okay, so we've got over 80% there. So what I'll do is I'll end that poll. Don't worry if you haven't voted, and then I'll share the results with you as well. So 18 people, so 26%, sorry, have registered as the answer yes, and then 74% of you have said no. So hopefully by the end of the session, you'll feel a bit more confident with this topic. Okay, so let's get started with what are bank feeds. So bank feeds is a tool that you use alongside your bank reconciliation feature. So there's often a confusion that this replaces bank reconciliation in the software, but it doesn't. You use it alongside. By connecting to your live bank accounts or importing, it can automate a lot of the process. So it enables you to download or import transactions from your bank. So importing is only available on version 30.1 or above. So that's a newer feature of the later versions. You can match these bank transactions against existing Sage transactions. You can create new Sage transactions from downloaded bank transactions. And you can create and manage bank feeds rules for transactions to automatically post into the software. Now, just to make you aware, bank feeds are a one-way link, so information is not going to be sent from your Sage 50 accounts software into your live bank account. So let's take a look at what it may look like if you are manually reconciling your bank account. Whether that be through the software or not, you may be accessing your statements online and printing them off, or you may receive them via post. You may have a lot of transactions, so your statements are long, or you may have a few months worth of reconciling to do if it's been a busy period, which could lead to a lot of paperwork on and around your desk. You'll be cross-referencing with what's on your Sage software, creating new transactions, and then looking for the right transaction on the statement, and ticking them off as you go. Now, with bank feeds, don't worry, you don't need to see what's actually on the little screen there. This is not the demonstration. But it just means that there's no need for printed statements or flicking between browsers or PDF documents, then back to the Sage software. You can match the downloaded transactions from your bank to either existing transactions, create new ones, or create rules to post them automatically for you. Then once you've matched all your transactions, it will just take you to the normal bank reconcile screen, and all your matched transactions will already be in the bottom section of the reconciliation window. Now, if your bank supports automatic feeds, the software will download your transactions for you automatically. In version 30.1, a manual option has been introduced for banks that are not currently compatible. This allows users to import bank transactions into the bank feeds, providing the same functionality as automatic feeds. So again, I'm not going to go through the setup process. If you've got the handout downloaded, you can click Set up bank feeds here and it'll take you to the relevant guide. Question that just came in there. So is it down to your individual bank how far back you can do this? So yes, some may only allow you to download in terms of automatic feeds. Some banks only allow you to download about 90 days. But if you are on version 30.1 or above, and it may be a case of you may need to reconcile all the transactions, if you can download those into a file, if you download those transactions into a file, you can then also use import with automatic as well. So what we'll do now is we'll go through each of the sections of the bank feeds. So we'll talk about auto match, manual match, creating rules, how to ignore transactions, and also process recurring items as well. Okay, so we'll break bank feeds down. We'll be covering steps 1 to 4 on today's session. In step 5, we have a full in-depth session on our recordings page. If you've got the handout downloaded, you can click on step 5 and that will take you to the recording of how to reconcile. So let's start with the step 1, the auto match. So auto match is going to show suggested matches. Any Sage transaction with the same value and date, give or take 4 days, And for multiple matches, similar transactions badge will appear on the screen. So what I'll do now is I'll show you the first video demonstration of the auto match feature. Again, do keep your questions coming throughout the video and we can pick these up.
The Auto Match feature will show suggested matches for transactions downloaded from your bank account with existing Sage transactions. To be automatically matched, transactions must have already been processed into Sage, have the same value, and be dated within 4 days of each other. The screen is divided into two parts. On the left, you'll see the bank transactions that have been downloaded or imported from your bank, and on the right, the transactions have been entered into Sage. You can specify what information you'd like to include on your Sage transactions by using the drop-down menu in the top right. You will also see this option within the To Be Matched tab. Matches between transactions are indicated by a green link. If matched correctly, click Confirm. This then transfers the transactions to the Confirm tab. If an auto match is incorrect, simply unmatch the transactions and they will be moved to the To Be Matched tab where they can be manually matched. Where more than one possible match has been identified, you can view the suggested and choose the correct transaction. You can also confirm more than one transaction at a time. Simply select the transactions you wish to approve and click Confirm Selection, or you can click to confirm all or unmatch all if not correct.
Okay, so that was the auto match tab. Once you've moved those relevant transactions to the Confirm tab, you can then come into the To Be Matched tab where you can start manually matching your transactions. So in the To Be Matched tab, you can match multiple transactions, not just on a one-to-one basis. So it could be many bank transactions or many Sage transactions and vice versa. From here, you can create new transactions. You can also ignore transactions to hide them within the option, with the option to restore them back in if done in error. And also as well, you can process recurring items. Now, bank feeds rules kind of replaces recurring items, but we'll come on to that later on in the session. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the next video demonstration on the To Be Matched tab. Again, do keep your questions coming so me and the guys can pick these up.
In the To Be Matched tab, you can manually match transactions that could not be auto-matched with any existing transactions. You can apply searches and sorts to the transaction lists, including by date, amount, reference, and type. You can manually match transactions on more than just a one-to-one basis. To match a single downloaded transaction to multiple Sage transactions, highlight the transactions to be matched and click Match Selection, or simply click and drag between the transactions to form the transaction link. When part matched, an orange indicator appears. You can either match more transactions or create a transaction for the remaining amount. Once fully matched, transactions are automatically moved to the Confirm tab. You can create missing transactions by using the Create option on the bank transaction. Some of the transaction information will automatically be entered for you, making this a quick task. At this point, you can also allocate the payment to any outstanding invoices. To create a transaction from multiple bank transactions, select the relevant transactions and then in the top right, click Create. Recurring items can be viewed and processed within bank feeds. This adds them to the To Be Matched tab to be manually matched. You can ignore transactions by highlighting the item and clicking Ignore Selection. This option is mostly used when you are first using bank feeds and you may have already processed transactions outside of bank feeds. If required, they can be reinstated by clicking View Ignore and selecting Restore. If you leave the bank feeds window at this point, all matches will be lost and the matching process will need to start again. However, this does not remove any transactions created during the bank feeds process up to this point.
Okay, so the last part of the bank feeds is the confirmed tab. So this is where you're going to review all your matches before proceeding to the reconciliation window. At this point, you will create, you don't have to, sorry, you can create rules. So you cannot create a rule without it being in this confirmed tab. And you'll see later on in the demonstration as to why. At this point, you can save and close. If maybe you need to go and do something else, or if you're ready to reconcile, you can then click Save and continue to reconcile. So let's have a look at the last video demonstration on how to use the Confirmed tab.
Before proceeding to the bank reconciliation, it is important to review all confirmed transactions. You can use the search feature to easily locate transactions and make any necessary amendments. If any transactions are incorrect, you can unmatch them and send them back to the To Be Matched tab. You also have the option to create bank feeds rules to further automate your processing. These rules can automatically create Sage transactions based on specific criteria, saving you time and reducing the risk of human error. If needed, you can also export confirmed transactions into a CSV file. To save your progress, click Save and Close to move confirmed transactions to the Reconcile window, where you can reconcile at a later date. If you're ready, save and proceed to the bank reconciliation window, entering statement details and reviewing matched transactions. Once done, click to reconcile your transactions.
Okay, so that is the Confirmed tab. So that is where you would do all of those checks before proceeding to the next stage. So now we're going to move on to the bank feeds rules. So at this point, before you save and reconcile, you might want to be creating some rules to automate some of your processing. So bank feeds rules is a bit more automation. So it's where transactions can be created automatically. You can only create rules based on matched transactions, so they have to be in that confirmed tab to be able to create rules. You can assign nominal codes and tax codes to transactions. You can also split transactions over nominal codes over nominal codes only. That might be that depending on how you want to report on your data, you might want to split some of your transactions, and we'll show you some examples in just a moment. Now, it's not available for foreign currency or bank transfers. Now, you can use bank feeds normally for foreign transactions and bank transfers, but you just cannot create rules based on this. And then you've got the maximum of 300 rules per bank account. Now, this is going to be per feed, so you might have 3 banks set up with bank feeds. That's 300 rules per bank feed. So that's potentially 900 transactions that you could automate. Now, we always go through some examples of what you might want to use bank feeds rules for. So I've got some examples based off previous sessions. If you have got any new examples that I could add to this list, please do pop them in the chat for me. But just some examples are direct debits, so utility bills, company phone bills, rent, bank loans, car finance, insurance, and also professional fees. You've also could use this for your suppliers or your customers. So if you've got any direct debits or standing orders, you've also got, just basically regular transactions. And you can probably see now how this potentially is going to or can replace recurring items. So you wouldn't be using recurring items and bank feeds at the same time. You would use one or the other. But this kind of works as, soon as the transactions hit the bank feeds, the transaction can be created, whereas it's a little bit different for recurring items. So what we'll do now is we'll move into some demonstration in the software. So I'm just going to pop over to my software. Okay, so we're in bank feeds at the moment. So you might want to be matching some, you might have some auto match transactions. You may want to manually match some transactions that have not yet been or were not able to be auto matched. Or you may need to create a transaction as it is not yet been posted. So again, you might want to confirm a transaction. You can see now I've got that my confirm tab. What we'll do is we'll go into the to be matched tab, and we'll do utility bills. So let's just find the transaction for my utility bill. So it's this one here. So this is my utility bill account number. So I know that I know that I've already processed this transaction. So I'll just have a look for my gas and electric. So all I'll do is drag them together so they move to the confirm tab. I'll then select that transaction. So you've got your bank transaction on the left and your Sage transaction on the right. So I'll select these together and I'll click Create Rule. It'll bring up this window here. Now, I will let you know and make it clear that rules will only apply to newly downloaded transactions. So it won't work retrospectively. It'll only apply for future downloaded transactions. You've got your transaction details in the section here. And we'll give the rule a name. So I'm going to call it gas and electric. Okay, so here you've got your conditions. So this can be, or you might want to call it criteria. So you can select as many or as little as you want. So you've got your reference here, and obviously this information is pulled based on the original transaction. So it might be equals, contains, or does not contain. Then you've got amount, and you've got the options in this drop down as well. Then you've got the day of the month. If you're not sure what this means, click on the little green icon, and it'll just let you know it's the value entered should be the transaction date, not the posting date. So it's really helpful when you're in this sort of window, you're not sure. You've got the little help icon here and here. And you've also got it in the top right as well. So you've got check number, and then you've also got account number and sort code. Now, if this was a customer or supplier, you may have already populated those details into the record, so then it would just enter automatically here. Alternatively, you can just type in that information. But for this example, I am going to split by amount because I get my statement from my utility bill for my gas and electric. It tells me how much my gas is going to be and how much my electric is going to be. So we'll scroll down to the transaction details. Automatically, it's picked the account type as nominal based off it was a bank transaction that we're creating the rule from. Split the transaction, click the drop down. You've got a choice between percentage and amount. What I'll do is actually I'll just split mine by percentage. Now, if you do select only reference, for example, I'll only get the option to split by percentage. You'll only get the option to split by value if you have amount selected. I'm going to go by percentage just for this one. Split one, it's already picked my nominal code for electricity. Again, it's defaulted the tax code because of the original transaction. I'm going to choose 70% for my electric. I don't have departments set up, but you might want to choose a department. You've got your reference, and then I'm just going to add in here, this is my electric. You've got option for X reference, project, and cost code as well. So I'm going to do another split. And this time we're going to do the gas one. I'm going to choose my nominal code. Again, I'm going to keep the tax code, and then I can either choose a percentage. So it might be if you want to split this more than once. So you might want to do 20%, and then you can see I've got the option to add another split. Alternatively, you can just click on the use remaining value button and it'll allocate that automatically for you. Next, you've got the department again. You've got your references, and this time I'm going to put gas. Again, you've got your other details if they are all optional. And then at the very bottom, we've got auto posting. So you can either review the transaction before posting, or you can choose to automatically post the transaction without approval. For this one, I am going to review the transaction before posting, and then we'll click create. Now, with the auto posting, it's per rule, so it's not one size fits all. You have to approve all, or you have to post them all automatically. It's a rule-to-rule basis. So for this one, I'm going to review transactions before posting. So I'll click create. And then if we pop into the button here, so we've got manage rules, you can see I've got my gas and electric there with a little capital A, but that's fine. So in here, this is where you would manage your rules. If you want to change it to auto post, then you can also tick that as well. Okay, so we'll do another example. So if we go back to our To Be Matched tab, we'll look for a customer this time. So we'll choose this one, and then we'll choose a transaction here. So I'm going to match these two together. Click Confirm tab. We'll pop into Confirmed. We'll select this transaction and we'll create another rule. We'll call this a direct debit, so we'll just do chill direct debit. Again, criteria, you might want to be using count number and sort code. It might be that, the value doesn't always stay the same. So, it's entirely up to you what you want to choose. Again, I'm going to go by amount for this one. Now, as you can see, the transaction details are slightly different because we can't split this transaction because it's a customer transaction. Again, it's automatically populating the right customer based off the original transaction. And then you've got department reference and extra reference. So again, we'll just put in there direct debit. I'm also going to leave this one as review transactions before posting. So I'm going to click create. And it's created that transaction, that rule for me. If you want to go in and change criteria, so if you click in here, click a rule, click view or edit. And then you can't change the name. If you did need to change the name or anything like that, you would have to delete it and start again. But you can come in and change the criteria. So it might be, you know, my gas and electric, I've done it by percentage. I'm coming into the summer months. I know that, you know, it might change in terms of how much electricity or how much gas I'm using. So you can come in and change the percentage if you need to. Okay, so we'll do one more example. So we'll come out here and we'll do a bank loan. So we'll do Santander. We'll create a transaction for this one. So we'll just click create. We'll do a bank payment. We'll choose loan, nominal code. And we'll call this bank loan. So save that transaction. It's created. And we'll click on this one here. And then we'll create a rule. So again, you might want to choose, you know, the day of the month it comes in. Again, I'm just going to choose amount. Haven't put a title in there, so bank loan. Hence transaction details. I'm not going to split this one. You might want to if you had maybe it's like bank loan. You maybe it's got bank fee. You might want to, or you know, interest or anything like that. You might want to split that over nominal codes. So you have got that option as well. For this one, it's a direct debit. I know exactly how much is coming out every month. So I'm going to leave that as automatically post without approval. So I'll click create. And that's those rules created. So you can see actually we've got a little tick in there as well to show that that one is auto posting. You can change just by ticking the box for any of those as well. Now I'm just going to show you where if you have rules set up where you have approvals, you will only see the approvals tab if you have rules set up for approval. So I'm just going to quickly refresh my software. So a quick question there I'm going to answer from Yvonne. So does the rule on customers create a new sales invoice or does it apply against an existing invoice? So rules don't create invoices, it creates a payment and it will not automatically allocate to invoices. So the rule will create a payment on account or sales on account, purchase on account. And what you'll still need to do at this point is you will still need to allocate those payments to invoices outside of bank fees. So hope that answers your question. So as you can see now in the rule approvals tab, I have my transactions. I can't see that little message. 1 second. There we go. Bear with me a second. I'm having a little bit issues with my software. There we go. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the rule approvals now. I've got my transaction. So here's my split transaction for my gas and electric. So if I click view, you can check the transactions. Now, you can't just select one. You'll have to approve all or reject all. But once you approve it, it then moves to the confirmed tab. So you can come in here, you can approve all, reject all. It's a bit like the auto match tab. Now, one more thing I do want to show you before we move back to our slides is there is a little setting. So I'll go back to our home page. And if you click on the little settings icon, and in here, you've got a little tick box, flag transactions created from bank feeds rules as bank reconciled. So that's just another step you can actually, you know, if you're confident with what's being posted, what's been entered, what rules been set up, you can also apply this setting so there's even less to potentially even reconcile. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop back to my slides. So now's your chance to get the last of your questions in before we move on. So let's just have a look at the questions that have come through. What we'll do actually, some of the questions I can see relate to some frequently asked questions. So we'll pop over to that slide. So some of the apologies, I thought we did have the FAQs in here, but we don't. So to answer some of the questions, so is the bank data live or is it one day behind? So this question, very good question. It's a question we get quite often. So it's not, so it's basically data is sent to the banking service. That is then retrieved around 7 AM by default. And then any transactions after that that take place after 7 AM that day, you may be able to trigger the download button. So if I show you what I mean, so if I pop back to my software, so if we go back into the bank feeds, you can see there's a download button along the top. So what you can do with that is some banks, depending on your bank as well, some providers may provide multiple feeds a day. So one might send it at 7, at 12, at 5. It just totally depends down to your banking provider, and you would need to contact them directly to ask that question. But if they do send multiple, you do find out they do send multiple feeds a day, you can click download, and that will do a refresh of the banking service to see if there's anything new being added. Alternatively, if you're using the import feature, if you're just, you know, your bank may not be compatible with live feeds, if you can download your transactions from your bank in a file and import them, then you will be able to, you know, as long as they're downloadable to that file, you can then import using the import option along the top, and then you can just upload your banking file. Okay, so I'm just going to pop back to my slides. I'm going to show you some resources. Okay, so if you've got your handout downloaded, we've provided some guides here. So set up bank feeds, using bank feeds, and the bank feeds rules. Alternatively, if we pop to the Help Centre, on the homepage of the Help Centre, if you click on Working with the Bank, if we click on Other Banking Tasks, and then in here, you'll see the option for bank feeds. So in here, you can find out what are bank feeds, install the latest version, preparation tasks, setting up, using, and then again, you can watch our recordings of webinars on bank feeds if you need to. Okay, so just a reminder about the webinars for Sage 50 accounts and Sage 50 payroll. You can simply visit sage.co.uk/webinars, and that's where you'll find all of our live sessions and our recordings as well. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of today's session. If you've got what you need today, you want to leave the session, you will receive an email in around an hour or so with links to both our webinar schedule and today's recorded session for you to refer back to if needs be. Upon exiting the session, you will see a survey at the end. That survey is based on how we've done today, so leave us a comment, what you liked, what we could have done better. We do like to read every single comment that does come through to us. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to put myself on a brief mute. I'm just going to have a look if there's any outstanding questions, so please do bear with me for just a moment. Okay, so there's a question there, how to check if our bank is supported by bank feeds. So if you follow the guide, it's going to show you. Alternatively, I suppose we've got a couple of minutes left. I can quickly show you in the software. So bear with me a second. So when you come to set up bank feeds, if you click Get Started, if you're wanting to see if your bank is compatible with automatic feeds, click Connect Bank. And this is where you're going to find out if your bank is compatible. You'll search for your bank, make sure you've got the right country selected. Search for your bank. If your bank does not show, that means it's not compatible. But what you can do is then you can, it might be that you need to upgrade to the later version, so then you can import your transactions. So for example, I know a question we do get specifically for charities is the CAF bank, which is not yet compatible with bank feeds for automatic. But what you can do is you can also tell us about it if your bank is not compatible. But if you're on the later version, there is ways and means, like you say, the import option, to still be able to use bank feeds as well. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'm going to wrap this session up as we are nearing the end. I want to say thank you to my colleagues who have been on hand today to answer your questions, and thank you to you all for your participation. Just a reminder, we've got plenty of sessions over the next couple of weeks, so don't be shy and get registered. So I want to say another thank you and take care.